Hey y'all, welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn, and yes, we're back.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as TooLizzForYou, TOOLIZZFORYOU.
And I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry and occasionally post as Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram. I haven't posted anything lately. I managed to get some kind of small rash that we're treating with ice packs.
Yes.
There's nothing interesting from our sofa for me to post about, although I have been working on some projects. And you've been working too.
I have. Work has been quite stressful, so I have fallen asleep on my couch before getting to knit more times than I can count. However, I have actually made it, where's the top of this thing? Here. To halfway. So this is halfway through actually the back. So this would be on my back, not on my
gorgeous.
front. Yeah, so we are officially halfway through. I hit that.
What's the fiber?
This is Zoe by Juniper Moon Farm. Again, this is the PomPom, the Ardea.
Right.
But from PomPom last
is
summer.
That a wool or?
No, it's a cotton linen flax.
I remember that. Yeah.
Or no, it's just cotton linen. I don't know where I got the flax, where I thought the flax was from.
Very nice.
But it's just cotton linen, which is
linen is flax.
interesting to work with because
the
stitch patterns are making the bottom edge really wobbly.
Well, I think it's really pretty.
I think it's going to have a little bit of a rib on it at the bottom. But it's frustrating while you're working on it because with a wool sweater, but with a wool sweater you wouldn't have such major issues, I think.
Oh no, I think it depends on the pattern.
I think it also very much depends on the fiber because there's no elasticity with this.
No, there's very little.
So,
yes.
But I do think.
Remember that the one class I took at Vogue Knitting that was the repetitive.
Yeah.
She could get some really wild bottoms and patterns in the folding of the fabric with hers.
But that's folding of the fabric. This is not.
Well, yeah, but it also came up
Mom,
like that.
I was just pointing out that it is a difference that I don't think I would have seen with as significantly.
I don't know.
I
have to try.
You can do it. I'm not knitting this more than this time. So what I think I'm going to do is when I get to the back of this, I will put it also on waste yarn, and then I will knit the front, and then I will throw them both through the washer, because that's how I did my swatch, which, as we all can remember, ended up looking a little bit more fulled.
Yes.
And
a little bit better behaved.
Just a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and then I will do all of the 3 needle bind-offs and all that is called for. I need to read the pattern and confirm that I'm not picking up a side to use for the front, and that it is all like 3 needle bind-offs. Even so, I think if I just leave them all, even if they say to pick up and go from I could always just do a 3 needle bind off to the inside, and it's essentially the same thing. As long as everything is a provisional, then I think that's probably good. Also to give it a little structure because it is not wool. So that would be good.
That would give us structure, absolutely.
And it will have structure at the shoulders. So that is something I think I'm going to do. I think I am going to wash it before I end up seaming it together and putting the hem and cuffs, the sleeve cuffs on. Yeah. Because that's where I'm seeing, and that's where I'm seeing or thinking. I mean, I'll probably throw it in the washer again after, but I would like to have a little bit more confidence in what it's going to do. Or how it's going to end up in its finished state before I pick up for all of the
that
stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I spoke before about how making that Estonian lace shawl killed my hands. My left hand has recovered quite nicely. The right hand is still having hysterical fits.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, because we're also working on the boat, and so I'm applying wrenches and holding bolts and things like that. And then the other day I had to pull sheets off, and the top half of these fingers just went, no, you're not bending me anymore.
Oh, no.
I'm done with that.
Yeah, I've done that.
So, whatever. So I started knitting Continental in order to be able to get any knitting done. I thought I'd try it. And I have made some real strides with my sugar maple.
Very nice.
So I am 4.5 rows away from dividing off the sleeves. Sleeves are around here someplace. Here's a sleeve. And on the other side, obviously, there's another sleeve. And so in 4.5 rows, you're still going around, but you do the binding, or the hem the hem on the sleeve. Cuff, thank you. As you go around, and then you just stop, and then gather it up and go body, body, body. So that's doing well. One of the things I've done is I've actually started making a line on the back with, where is it? I'll find the marker. Here. With a slip stitch. It's not as pronounced as on the front because I'm not adding stitches along here as the pattern says to do in the front while you're still increasing like crazy. Once I get into the body of the sweater, where you increase and decrease so that the stitch number stays the same, I will be doing the same on the back as I do on the front at that marker, because I found I did not like in my original sugar maple how the back went straight across on my waist and the front had this wacko dip in the front. I like the dip, but I wanted to dip in the back as well as the front. I don't like short sweaters because I feel undressed if I bend over and my waist is uncovered. I'm not comfortable with that. And since I'm making this thing, I don't need to make something that I'm uncomfortable with. Correct. So what I had done with my original one that had gotten eaten is I ripped it out to about halfway up the back and then started making that same V pattern in the back as in the front. So the dip in the back wasn't as pronounced as in the front, but it made me happier wearing the top. This is made out of a wool cotton, and it's quite nice to work with.
Right, it's got some wool
It's got some wool, so it's got some stretch. So I did find the other night that this whole hand just went, but the next morning, it was fine. So for the moment, I am knitting Continental. I do find that when working on my cross stitch, this hand still gets a little upset.
Yeah.
So I'm either doing all of my cross stitch with my left hand.
Or are you doing it two-handed?
Doing it two-handed.
Nice.
And I'll show you my cross stitch in a little bit. So the sugar maple is the only thing I have done with knitting. I've been spending a lot of time. I find that I don't knit as much. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I don't knit as much when I'm just kind of slightly under the weather, but since the itch is being taken care of by the ice, I seem to be able to be okay. And the work is proceeding along on the boat. We may actually be able to go away on a trip in August, having addressed many of our issues. We have a piece for the generator.
Okay.
I think it's for the filter, the water pump for the filter, because Richard broke the other one.
Would you like to share with the... once you're done with this story, would you like to share with the class your beautiful... What you texted me about this week that only is a $5 part, but oops!
About the desiccant. Yes, well.
I didn't realize it was... I thought it was a part of the...
No. It was just the desiccant box.
Oh.
So what she's talking about is I was trying to dump the desiccant and the water over, and it was turning into a slurry. And so Richard says, I just dumped the whole thing in the water, because all it's going to do is just dissolve anyway. And I just went, bloop, not realizing that there was like a colander container within my little bucket that also went, bloop, and basically we had to get some new ones.
Oh, because the way it texted is... The way my mom texted this to me was, I was helping with the second,
Desiccant?
No. The second, winch. The second winch. And then I had a part, and I accidentally threw it overboard.
No, it wasn't part of the winch.
Well, okay, that is literally the way you texted it to me, and I was like... Oh, no. And then she goes, your father says it's okay, though. It's only a $5 part.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, good.
The desiccant...
Because I started cackling at my desk. Straight up cackling.
So the desiccant box is actually only $4.
Oh, okay.
We've now gotten 4 new ones.
Oh, good.
So the boat is much drier than it had been. The generator water pump was failing. And he was trying to make it not fail quite so fast. And he made it fail immediately. So the part was, we were going to try to repair it, but we found out that a new part was, on hand in the warehouse.
Okay.
And we should get it, I think, by Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's good. We have ordered new parts for the hatch covers.
Oh.
And we're not sure when they arrive.
Okay.
What else? We've ordered new kitchen chairs. They're brewer chairs. So it's like a piece of aluminum comes down. This is the back, and then it comes this way, and it supports the seat and comes down, and then comes down, and then goes like that, forms the base. And then comes around and goes up the stairs. So it's one piece of aluminum that comes around. It's called a Marcel Brewer chair. I'm sure ours are knockoffs. And ours are padded. And I have replaced the leather/naga hide on these things for decades. Mm-hmm. And suddenly Richard doesn't want me replacing it anymore. He's sure that something is broken.
He's sure that the wood behind it needs to be replaced, right, and that we cannot replace, and the screws are stripped, and they cannot hold in that wood any longer.
So he decided we need to spend some money. Works for me. So we actually found a store in a town not very far from here, Westbury, that carries brewer chairs. And we found some chairs that are probably 3 times as much as I thought we'd pay for chairs. And he said, great. So we should be getting new kitchen chairs within the next 2 weeks. They actually make them. So they had to order the fabric. So I guess semi-custom made. So these are going to have wood outlining the padding on both the bottom, the seat, and the back. But other than that, they'll be essentially our present chairs, but they won't be falling. The backs won't be separating from the support, so that's good. And then I want to get some new dining room chairs because the backs of our dining room chairs have been falling out. They're
for years.
For years. They're verticals, and instead of being screwed in, they're glued in, and the glue dries out, and then they fall out. And
it's very hard to figure out which way is the correct way to orient these
once they've fallen out. Because they'll fall on their own very easily, but then you try to put them in, and I have one that's stuck at the moment. So anyway, new chairs are certainly, new kitchen chairs are coming, and I think new dining room chairs may be here by Thanksgiving, which would be nice. Anyway, what else? He ordered... So we ordered the hatch covers. He said he fixed the hatch over our bed, so that was good. And I haven't gotten a chance to ask him what he did today. I don't know whether how far he got with epoxy, because we're putting epoxy in the bimini roof.
It was hot today.
Yeah, it was hot. But it's like, I think he may be using an injector. Okay. We'll see. We'll find out. So we're replacing rotten wood. So there's a piece of fiberglass, there's plywood, and there's another piece of fiberglass. and we noticed we had leaks through the screws that were colored. So it meant that the wood was rotting. And yes, we took out the screws, and the screws didn't have any stop wet sealant. I don't know why. So Richard has been engaged in kind of drilling out the rotten parts of the wood. The posts, both of them were rotten. Another post, one was clear wood and the other was rotten, but he got back to good wood. And another one, both of them were great. And so it's really kind of hit or miss. So we'll be putting epoxy in, we'll be then drilling the holes, putting the screws through. And then one of the posts that connects right by the helm station, they didn't have sealant as it went into the fiberglass into the bottom of the boat either, which was also leaking onto our bed. I was not a happy camper with that. So we'll be replacing that. And then, so I'd say in a week or two, we should be pretty good, and we could be, sailing away for 3 or 4 weeks, which would be nice, which is why we got the boat. Anyway, speaking of my cross stitch.
Yes.
First of all, I got magnets.
Yes, we did.
I love these magnets. They are great. So I'm not extra stressing my hands trying to hold my instructions while I'm also holding this. And
Good.
It does mean that I'm only doing this much. I folded my instructions pretty much into fourths.
Okay.
But there's not much under here. I mean, there's a lot of writing under here, but there's not a lot of patterning. And I've already done that much anyway. So I'm working on this block.
Mm-hmm.
And what I finished was I finished all of that.
Wow.
Look at that. And it's all filled in with all the highlights and everything. There will be some highlights on some of this green afterwards.
In backstitch.
Yeah, in backstitch, but I'll do that afterward. So now I'm kind of moving up and doing this part.
Nice.
So I'm hoping to finish these 2 blocks all the way up to here, hopefully by next week, but we'll see. So I do some cross stitch, and then I do some knitting, and then I'll do some cross stitch, and then I do some knitting. I really am trying to get those last few rows done on the sugar maple, so I can feel like I'm making real progress and moving on. You know how it feels when you finally take the sleeves off, and you're finally just working on the body. So I've just joined my second skein.
Okay.
So again, I'll feel really good once I take the sleeves off, because then I'm just working on body length, and I've got this and I think 3 more. So I'll make it as long as I can make it, and then we'll go from there.
Are you going to take the sleeves off and then you're going to put them on holders, and then you're going to
I
knit
think
them?
they stop.
Oh, okay.
In other words, they're just caplets.
Oh, okay. That makes
sense. So you go
sense.
around and around and around, and then I think you bind that off, and then you join underneath, is I believe my remembrance of the sugar maple. So, no, there's no real sleeve here.
Nice.
Yeah, I had added more on the...
That's what I thought. Okay.
The wool sweater, but
Mm-hmm.
I find that summer has been really hot, and I don't need any extra sleeves. If I need anything warmer, I will wear
An additional layer.
an additional layer rather than just make a longer sleeve for this. Anything else you want to report on?
I have a lot of things I want to knit. I need time.
Well, I
need my project to be done, my work project to be done, so that I can be slightly less stressed. Yeah.
End of September? Beginning of September? Sometime in September.
No, it's end of August.
Oh, okay.
The next 4 weeks are gonna be great. I'm literally gonna go into my boss and be like, "Cool, so this project is done. It has killed me." So that I don't get majorly sick again like I did in the spring. I'm taking a week.
Yeah.
But I have to have that serious conversation with him, because I don't think he understands exactly how I'm feeling right now. But I can feel myself.
If you're away on the boat, maybe you could find us.
I would be very tempted by that.
Yes. We're also working on fixing the second toilet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And by second toilet, they mean my toilet.
Yes. The one on her side. Otherwise, you have to get up in the night, walk across the center section and down, which is what we've been doing when we've been sleeping on your
Which,
side.
I mean, like, fine, I can do that. I usually don't get up in the night.
Right,
So,
well, we do, so
yes.
it's a bit upsetting, but we do.
Yeah.
So anyway, things are moving along here. I'm sorry we didn't see you last week, but there really wasn't anything to report on. Because
There wasn't much to report on, and we went sailing, and we were
exhausted.
We were exhausted. Oh, because I know why we were so tired, because we brought the old sail in.
Yes. And they measured it in the back. And
yeah.
When it's...
I made a comment to my father about, at work every so often someone will be like, oh, you're an only child, like, did your father ever, wish for a boy? And I'm like, I don't think so, because I'm an engineer, and I like to sail, and my father's not much of a sports person, except to sail. So, like, I don't think that there was ever a regret for him, and I made the comment to him while we were outside. He goes, no, no.
You were fine.
I'm not a sports guy. I was like, I appreciate that, Dad.
No.
But I mean, also the fact that now his, 30-something-year-old daughter can haul an entire sail off the boat by herself,
He was pretty pleased.
He was so worried. He was so worried that I was going to injure myself doing it. And I'm like, Dad, I can do this. Like,
I lift weights.
Like,
it's okay.
I do this. Just let me go.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. You sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Get out of my way.
It's these people who are in front of me that are the problem. But yeah.
They were going so slowly.
So
when you're carrying something heavy, sometimes you want to build momentum and really just move it. So anyway, we got the sail home and measured it.
Yeah.
And then he decided that he could fix the sail.
Yes, he wants to keep it.
He wants to keep it instead of letting us make bags out of the canvas.
It's okay.
We'll get it. Because there's no way I want him to really... He needs to take it to a sail maker to have it repaired. And if he doesn't do that, we'll get the fabric for bags anyway. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's about it. We're going to wind in whatever we're doing and weave in ends. And hopefully we'll see you next week. If not, we'll see you the week after.
Yeah. It's a short episode because you've been on the injured reserve list.
When I'm on the injured reserve list, I tend to take things a little slower.
Yeah.
And now I'm having to take things a little slower with my knitting because I'm not natively a picker.
Yeah.
Which is continental. So luckily this is all stock and stitch. And that's fine. There is a finished way of doing a purl, doing a continental, which I think I may resort to because obviously I'm just stressing this hand over much with the throwing or the English method.
Oh, and your knee. That was the other reason we didn't record last week.
Right. Yes, I crunched my knee.
The other one.
Yeah, the good one. But we iced it. We iced it aplenty that night. And it was fine the next day. So, there'll come a time when I crunch it and it's going to not be okay. But at the moment, we're fine. Okay. So we're going to take it and go.
Yeah. But yeah, so... We are still planning to be at Rhinebeck so far. We will be at India Untangled.
Absolutely.
All day. We're both full-day employees that day. And
so we will be at some booth.
We will be there. I'm
happy to talk.
Yeah.
I mean,
happy to
we get
see
time
you all.
off for breaks and we get time off for lunch.
Yes. But just wanted to remind you all that Woolen Folk, India Untangled, Cakapalooza and Rhinebeck itself all have tickets up, and I believe classes are filling up fast for Rhinebeck.
I'm not taking any classes.
We're not taking any or teaching any this year, but I just wanted to remind everyone that is a thing.
Have we gotten Rhinebeck tickets yet? No.
No, we should.
We should. We'll have Rhinebeck tickets by next week.
Yes. But yeah, so that's something that's happening in the next few months. If you have started to think about advent calendars, definitely any ones you see
Indy.
now.
Did you sign up for Indy?
I did sign up for Indy.
good.
Did you sign up for Indie?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
You know, I keep getting disappointed.
I know.
Advent calendars, and I'm still working on the other sweater, with advent calendars, and it doesn't thrill me.
Yeah.
So I love the story of the Indie Entangled one. I think, her going and visiting all these people, I think it's lovely. And I'd love to support it, but my heart isn't in it.
Yeah.
Especially with all of this yarn behind me. If I was starting out, if I only had 3 shelves instead of 14, I think as I look in, there's stuff in the closet.
I think I have Indie as a traditional one, and then I have 3 that are coming that are single skeins of self-striping yarn. So they're a 24 stripe one.
I think I'm just going to buy yarn when I see it, which is, why I love Indie Untangled, because I can see the yarn and I can see what I want to make out of it and go from there. So we'll be at Indie and we'll be around Rhinebeck. We got to check the reservations to make sure I have them right.
I think you do, but we will do that after we log off here.
That's about it.
Just wanted to put that in as a little reminder.
The summer.
Yeah, and we will talk to you all again soon.
Bye.
Bye.